So now we can continue with the QNAP. After overnight we left it building the RAID 5 based on 6 hard drives of 2 TB that we inserted yesterday. Now this takes about 6 to 7 hours to complete, and although the unit is accessible during its building of the RAID 5, we choose not to interfere with it because it would interfere with how fast we can change the settings and everything. So once it's built completely, you can just approach it using Firefox or Internet Explorer and connect to it over the IP address it gotten from your router. So we can see we can administer here, administer our web files, check customer service, the WE and the QNAP forums. Now we can later on add more icons here, and I'll show it later during this review. Right below you have a slider that you can manage as well to switch between icons. Now what we need first is just enter in the console interface and then check out whatever features that we have. You can see right from the start you have quite a few icons lined up, and here below you have the latest news that concerns your unit. There are some new applications or Q packages available that you can install on this NAS, or even the latest firmware. So the first step we gonna ensure is that this unit comes with the latest firmware v3.2.4, so that we can do in system administration and then check the firmware update. And as you can see, we do actually have the latest version currently. Now we go back to the home page where we were and start exploring all the options we have. Now, a little tip during this review is that you can pause the YouTube video because I'm going to run quite fast through all these options. So if you feel I'm going too fast, just pause it for a minute and take a good look at the screen. To navigate the system, we just click on System Administration, Disk Management, or whatever you need, and you will see all the icons that are valid for that particular section. The left menu works actually with a drop-down menu quite easily, which I prefer to use because if you go through the overview, there's quite a lot of icons to see and use. So the general section is quite more easier. You can shift this window a bit down so you can see everything. So we start with general settings where we can enter a name for the NAS server. In our case we call it Python. We can set the date and time, and as you can see I'm living in Brussels and this is quite correct to be the time zone. However, the time is wrong. It's not 6 o'clock right now, it's 12 o'clock. And what you could do is just set the server time. I'm going to click on this now while I keep on babbling and select update now. This will actually load the time from your computer into the NAS system automatically. All except of course the time zone, which you need to set manually. A second option you have is that you can synchronize with an internet time server automatically. Just enter the address and then select if you want an hourly update or a daily update. I'm not going to use that now because I don't need it. The daylight savings time can be set as well. This means the summertime in general, and you have some language options. Not really all the language we would like to see on a NAS server, especially in Europe, but English seems like the most useful one to us. And then there's an option to set the password strength, so meaning all users that enter a password need to have a certain complexity, so you don't end up with users that might compromise your system with passwords that are easy to crack, especially if you intend to use the QNAP NAS server on the internet and share it with people remotely. This is quite a risk to take, so these options are quite good to have. So in the end we'll just click apply and all the settings here have been set. My time is correct and the system has a name. And once this all is done, we just go to the networking. As you can see, the QNAP does have 2 network connections. At the current time only one is connected here, and it's connected over a gigabit LAN. You can see the MTU setting, which actually means something like jumbo frame settings, is currently set to default one, 1500. Now you can configure the device either using an automatic IP address by auto negotiation or set it to full duplex or 100 megabyte full duplex, but we prefer using a fixed IP address in general so it doesn't change over time. So we're just gonna leave that working a little here, then go back here. It's a little trick to have it quicker. The default gateway is Ethernet 1. You can set Ethernet 2 as well. You have port trunking, which means we're going to combine the workload on both Ethernet connections, or have one function as a backup for the other one in case it fails. So you can have multiple selections like failover or load balancing. I'm not using it in general, but it's handy if you want to connect the same NAS to two different domains. So you have a DNS server right here, and as you can see, for both the network address you can set a jumbo frame options up to 9000 MTU. We're not using that, so we're just going to continue. There's a DDNS integrated, which means over the internet you can assign an easy address to the NAS and then do some port forwarding on your router, and there's support for IPv6. So we're not using that, and we're going to leave this alone.